Everyone, welcome back. Josh Beats, Alex Goldman for From the Stands, and we're with the man who put on quite a show last weekend in Auckland. Hex 30 from Auckland, mate. What a show! I guess before we get into the show and a whole lot more, you've just told us you got COVID. So apart from having COVID and dealing with that, how have you been?
Yeah, I've been good, boys. Yeah, really happy to get through the New Zealand show. It was a massive effort by a whole team. So the show, the show really reflected the hard work that all of us have put into it. So really happy to be back in Melbourne and looking forward to doing another show in 4 weeks' time.
Absolutely. Well, I guess now that you've had a week or so to sort of digest everything from Hex 30 and your time in Auckland, how was the experience as a whole?
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. The whole, I guess, outlook on mixed martial arts and combat sports in general in New Zealand is so different to here in Australia, especially here in Victoria. They're very accepting. The media was getting around it. All the UFC fighters loved it. People from outside of the combat sports world that were, I guess, influential figures. We had the All Blacks down there.
Wow.
They loved it. They all loved it. Everyone over there was so supportive, and it makes us extremely confident and excited to come back to New Zealand very soon.
Definitely. Then I kind of wanted to know, were there any major differences or similarities? How did your fight week in Auckland compare to the shows in Melbourne?
Uh, oh, there wasn't really that many differences, to be honest. It was even the weather was the same over there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw.
No, it was good. We really plan these shows to a T from the second that our previous show is done. We're planning the next show. We've got processes in place. So 5 weeks kind of run this whole time. The only big difference, like I said, was just the reception that we got over there. It was really I guess a shock to the system.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk. First performance I want to talk about was Jamie Edenden. Massive performance for her, and now knocking off Janae Harding and now Jenna Fabian. I mean, it's pretty hard to deny, her a spot in the big time. And I sort of see her career, because of her weight and being a bit of a bigger girl. I sort of see Bellator 145-pound division a good home for her for the foreseeable future. Now that the UFC doesn't have a 145-pound division anymore, I guess. What are your thoughts on her performance and where she goes next?
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely see her being a problem in that division. She called out Sarah Collins as well, fellow Australian, and yeah, to go through what she went through. All respect to Jamie, but Jenna was having her way with her, I guess, over the first 2 rounds, and Jamie just stuck through. And then to come back, get that takedown, and not waste that chance. She got the takedown. She moved straight into Mount and just went for it. She was fighting 2 weight classes up as well, so it was a super impressive performance by her. And like I said, I think she could be a problem in the Bellator or the PFL or whatever it is, the 140 division.
For sure. I wanted to get your thoughts on Justin Van Heerden's, return to the Hex cage. Obviously, he's a big star here in Australia, and I'm wondering, what could you see as, being next to him, and what are your thoughts on him returning to Hex?
Yeah, it was really good to have him back on the show. Obviously, we've got him matched against Abdalla Biayda for the show in 4 weeks' time. And I really I do say this a lot, but I really think that the winner of this is deserving of the UFC. This is finally we get a fight where the two top guys. There's none of this promotion versus promotion bullshit. It's the 2 top guys in the country are going to get locked in a cage against each other. They've talked all the smack that you could in the world over the last year and a half, but they just haven't been able to fight each other. And we're lucky enough to get to watch that come June 14th.
What's up, guys? It's Josh here from the Stands. And look, I know you're in the middle of a good little interview that we're currently doing, but I want to take a second of your time just to give a quick little shout out to today's sponsor, TrainAid. Obviously, they're big supporters of us, like we are of them. And today they're sponsoring this video. And look, I want to let you guys know about a little product they do. Their premium product, TrainAid Hydration. It's the best hydration formula on the market, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. And look, if you don't believe me, ask guys like Israel Adesanya, Alexander Volkanovski, Leon Edwards. You ever heard of these guys? I mean, they're the top athletes in the world. And they're all taking TrainAid Hydration. It really is the #1 formula in the world for hydration. And in the summer months here in Australia, I mean, it's something that I think everyone should be taking. And Trainade have been very nice to give us a discount code, a very healthy discount code as well. I mean, it's a nice little discount code. If you use the code FTS15 at the checkout, they will give you 15% off. We'll leave a link to their website in this description of this video. And yeah, check them out, guys. Please support them because they are supporting us. Cheers.
Absolutely. Well, I was going to touch on that. Is that, in your mind, one of the biggest fights we could see this year? Because in my mind, the way I look at this fight, I think it's very reminiscent of Kevin Jousset and Kit Campbell, where it was a fight where whoever was winning that fight was pretty much, signing the dotted line with the UFC. And I really feel like this is that fight. For Justin, I mean, I feel like it's been a long road for him. Being the eternal champion, now has a chance to become a Hex champion. I don't know if anyone has done that. If any, I mean, that'd be a massive, massive stake, a feather in his cap to become a Hex champion, and then obviously roll into the UFC. So, in terms of an excitement level, the build up, everything else, this fight sells itself. It really does. I feel like. Where do you see this fight in those sort of terms?
Yeah, I definitely think it's the biggest fight of the year so far. But with every Hex show that we do, I always say, like, this is the biggest Hex card we've ever done, and we'll do the next one, and I'm like, this is the biggest Hex. People probably just think I'm just bullshitting, but these cards keep getting better and better. The fights keep getting better and better. The build-ups are getting bigger and bigger. But to be perfectly honest, I think this fight will be a hard one to top this year. I think with all the build-up that's happened over the last 18 months, these guys have just been going back and forth, just throwing everything at each other. And yeah, like I said, they finally get locked in the cage. I know how keen both of these guys are to just bash each other, so I can't wait for it.
Yeah. Obviously, Sean Gauci had, an incredible performance as well, becoming the new flyweight champion. And, I wanted to get firstly your thoughts on the finish, but then also your thoughts on what's next for him.
Yeah. The thing with Sean is that that overhand's coming, but no one's been able to stop it yet. He's knocking people out at bantamweight. Like, if he hits people at flyweight, they're not waking up for a while. His opponent Nobuyoshi, there was a bit of talk around that, it was a gimme fight, this and that, but he went out there and had a good showing for the first part of that round. He landed some good strikes. He looked really good out there. So I think it's impressive for Sean to be able to put someone like that away, who's a former Ryzen fighter as well, put him away in the first round like that. I think what's next for Sean, it has to be the UFC. He's the only person that has a win over Steve Erceg, albeit a long time ago, but he is apart from now with Pantoja, but he was the only one. And I think he's proved everything he needs to prove on the Australian and New Zealand scene. He's knocking everyone out that he faces. So I think he's more than ready to jump straight in, whether it's contender or straight into the UFC in Perth.
Does that, just to back off that quickly, does that get to you at all when you see those comments about, or people saying it's a gimme fight and this and that? I saw some talk online about Joseph Luciano's last fight for beatdown, and people were sort of saying the same thing. But at the end of the day, I suppose you're matching people with who you can get. I mean, if in an ideal world, you'd put Sean against Drilic or any of these guys, but unfortunately, that's not a possibility. So you do what you can, I suppose. Does that at all affect you or get you, or have those thoughts of why people ask those questions?
You can't let anything get to you in this game, because there's just so many. There's always the outside talk about everything that we do, but like you said, there's the three flyweights in the country that are at that top, the top level, the top three. You got Gauci, Drilic, and Stuart Nicol. We obviously we know the situation with Drilic. We did try and match Sean and Stuart Nicol, but his team turned it down. So we have to look outside of Australia. And like I said, Nobuyoshi was a former Ryzen fighter. He was ranked in the top 15 in Japan. So he was no bum. It doesn't affect me, because at the end of the day, and it was the same thing with Michael Barber and Justin Van Heerden. Everyone was going on that, like, oh, this is a gimme fight for Justin. Like, it's obvious that we just want Justin to fight Abdalla, but you saw how close that fight was. Like, we're putting these fights on for just to get someone to the next fight or to get someone a win. Like, we're putting these fights on because we know that they're going to be good.
Was that fight for Stewart? Was that offered for the Hex 30 card in Auckland?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, that would have been. I mean, I know you and Damien have a good relationship, so that would be one that I think people would also get around that type of Justin Van Heerden, Abdalla Biayda type fight.
For sure. I have a question for you, which is, obviously, I think the Justin Van Heerden signing this year has probably been the biggest moment in Australian MMA in terms of. I remember when I saw it, I was like, whoa. This is huge. So I guess my question for you is, are there any more holy crap moments for Hex that are coming this year that either you can tell us about or you could at least tease that they're in the pipeline and they're coming?
I don't know if there'll be any that are that big. But, we're always open to having new guys on the show. Sorry, my dog's just coming downstairs.
Yeah, right.
We're always open to bringing on new talent onto the show, no matter what shows that they're coming from. We just want to put the best fights on possible. I've got a massive title fight in the pipeline for September.
Beautiful.
I don't think there'll be any news as big as that, just because he was, I guess, the poster boy. He'd been there for so long, and then he decided that he wanted to jump ship and come over and fight on Hex. I don't think there'll be any news as big as that, but we're always looking to put on fights where people are like, holy shit, like, I can't believe that's happening.
Yeah,
last one from me, Jacob, and then we'll let you go, man. And I'd be remiss if I didn't touch on it, which is Sam Key, Navajo Sterling. Big fight, light heavyweight title fight, which I applaud you guys for, because you guys are really the only ones that are pushing the light heavyweight division. There's obviously a strong welterweight division in the country, middleweight as well. Heavyweight, you guys are doing well with heavyweight and light heavyweight now. So with Sam Key obviously coming back from the PFL, this is a huge fight to be added on that card as the main event. I guess this is a bit of a two-parter. Thoughts on the matchup and thoughts on Navajo Sterling, a guy that of a star, really. I mean, the kid looks like he's a year away, a couple of fights away from being in the UFC. I guess your thoughts on him as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge fight. It's obviously a massive test for Navajo. It's a huge step up in competition for him. I don't think there's a bigger jump in Australia and New Zealand right now. It's going to be a huge test for him. Sam is an absolute weapon, and he's been on the world stage against the best of the best. Like you said, we want to be giving love to these bigger guys, the light heavyweights and heavyweights, always putting on fun fights, and there's a home for them at Hex. So I think it's going to be a really good fight. And just with Navajo as well, I mean, from what we've seen so far, he's, like you said, he's got the makings of being a UFC superstar, UFC world champion, whatever it is. But he's got to get through Sam K, and that is no easy task.
Definitely. Well, Jacob, thank you so much for joining us today, man. Firstly, we want to wish you all the best on your road to recovery from COVID. Obviously, health first. Hope that you recover all right. And always, man, we really appreciate your time. And, I think that what you're doing for Australian MMA is just amazing in terms of the growth of the sport and really providing those opportunities for the fighters. So, but from Josh and from myself, thank you for that. And we'd love to talk to you again, maybe just ahead of that show in June.
Thanks, boys. It wouldn't be possible without the team behind me as well. It's not just a one-man thing.
Yeah, of course.
Our team at Hex is so strong. So I might be the one that's always on these videos getting the praise, but at the end of the day, I couldn't. It's a team operation, and couldn't do it without the boys that aren't on the screen getting the accolades. So
absolutely, man. We know that for sure. Nah.
But yeah, appreciate you guys having me on as always. It's great. Always great to chat to you.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks, brother. Thanks very much.